Sweet, hello, hello. Yes, how you are? How's Confluence doing? What's up? Before we get started, we have a couple community instructions, which,
Step one, introduce the title and topic.
So obviously you're all here. I hope you're here for the Multiverse With You, Grief, Film, and Multiverse Theories presented by
Mejia
and Ruti. All right, we got step one. Done. Step two.
Acknowledge the space, event, and or give gratitude for the audience for being here. Shout out to you.
To be fair, we just saw it, so bear with us here. But thank you, honestly, Padiush, Lasokamati, thank you so much for coming here and honestly, we hope this is like a flowing conversation with you all. So that's really good. Okay, step two.
Okay, moving on.
Step three.
Oh yeah, please share any preferred nouns. Okay, so for recording photo, I'm cool with it. If people want to have photos record.
What about when the film's done?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, okay, cool. All right, so.
Now we got intros. Okay, now for the fun stuff. Hi again, my name is Mejia. I usually the pronouns. We are here trying to have a conversation about what it means to experience the multiverses through the lens of grief and how film has also been a medium to experience that. This is a conversation that Ruti and I have had in different shapes and forms throughout our friendship.
Wait, can I tell them how this came about? Because I think it's very important.
The origin story or
the origin story? So, let's go back a year ago. I was in Mexico, and I was working on a couple things, and hi, is this Ruti? I'm like, yeah, this is Ruti, what's up? This is Nia. I was like, oh my God, Nia, what's up? And then he was like, I have a crazy idea. And I was like, I'm listening. What's happening? And Nia was like, yo,
what if we somehow try to explain multiverse theories, the things that we talk about, and with the portals, and the eclipses, and the witchy shit, and the astrological shit, and our ancestors, and like, what does it mean to experience all of that through grief, and somehow try to explain that to folks?
And so then I was like, okay, I'm coming back to the US.
Yes, thank God, because I could not have done this without you.
Thank you, Nia. Thank you for having this brain baby and trusting me into bringing this to life. All right, so with that being said, we'll go ahead. So a couple things. Star knowledge acknowledgement. We want you all to know that we are really speaking from our own life experience and from our own cosmovisions and from our own belief systems and values. When we talk about like mostly the Mesoamerican and indigenous perspective. You know what I just did? I just skipped our intros. I'm so sorry. Rewind.
That is for the intro. Yes.
Okay. Well, my bad, y'all. I'm jumping multiverses. My other self in another universe was like writing this down. This routine is struggling a little.
Doing great.
Yekayua unanolatan shoshi palitisi paksiwasin nahanenye kuskatan manahuara nawa bibir mayalinka pudum. Hello, my name is Ruti. Shoshi palitisi paksiwasin. Ooh, deja vu, I said that already. But I usually her pronouns and my family on my father's side, we're from the Navarro community, and on my mother's side, we're from the Mayalinka, located in Cuscatan, Marajuara. Cuscatan, Marajuara. So Cuscatan is the Nahua name of people people know as El Salvador now, and Marajuara is the Lincoln in the Putum language.
Proper intro. My name is Nia again. I already said that. I live in St. Paul. I'm Mexican by birth. I'm from Morelos. If there's any Mexicans in Morelos in the house, okay, be here. Yeah, I largely consider myself a mixed racial descendant of Navarro people. So a lot of this also has been like reclaiming my roots, reclaiming our histories. And I'm also an organizer, filmmaker, educator. I work at the Bell Museum. We have actually a booth downstairs. Come stop and say hi. And just general baddie in charge. I don't know. Is that? What else is helpful for this context? Yeah, it's really awesome to have like this conversation about what it means to blend some Western perspectives with what we have known for our peoples. And so I think with like the start knowledge statement, we're just excited to nerd out with you and share like our collective thoughts about how we come to theorize these things. And so there's no single way to encompass everything that we're about to unpack. Largely appreciating all the elders and ancestors that have come before us who are guiding the pathway for us to be here.
Yeah, and shout out to all of the Dakota and Anishinaabe homies that are very much still here. And so thank you, shout out to them for continuing to be stewards of the land and being relatives with us and also sharing some of their knowledge. So shout out to them. All right, so next thing, multiverse theory. So, as we said, we really want this to be a conversation, so we have a prompt question, like, how do you understand the multiverse? So, just anybody can go. There's no wrong answers. How do you understand the multiverse?
Like multiple timelines?
Mm-hmm.
Multiple timelines.
Multiple timelines.
All at once.
Oh, yes. Anybody else? Okay, don't be shy.
Yeah, I think we can.
Oh, right here.
I feel like literature-wise, it sort of like operates in the same way as like different planets, like how back in earlier like traditions of sci-fi, you would imagine like other like alien life forms in different planets and different societies. Multiverse is kind of a similar take on that, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good one. Back there.
Yeah, I guess one thing that I think of is like parallel realities, and sometimes like in certain stories that I've read, there's like this conflict of you can't be in the same reality where there's already a version of you that's there, and like I don't know, I find that interesting. I guess the like dissonance between there's all of these realities, but you can only be in one at one particular time, or else something goes wrong.
Thank you.
That's so interesting, and I want to acknowledge that because that is feels challenging, like the narrative that we have to take to, which is, I mean, it's not challenging, but it's also the point is that with Western science, it's less than like an exact science. It's like the multiverse theory is essentially scientists, astronomers trying to come up with a theory of how the universe began. And it's less of an exact science and more of like a colloquial term, I would say. And so in this sense, all of our theories are right. There's a space for all of us to come to this room, have an understanding of multiverse, and still there's a theory in the scientific realm that would support that. So I find that like really affirming because it also supports what we have known as indigenous peoples. And when we reference indigenous peoples in this context, I want to reference that we're talking about like Turtle Island, but of course we know that indigenous peoples exist all over the world. And so if you're also of indigenous descent from different continents and want to out with us, I would love to hear more about how your cultural perspective thinks about this too. There's a term that I wanted to offer. It's called etuapmuk, ETUAPTMUMK. I'm sure that's not the traditional language, but it translates to two-eyed seeing. So this is a word that I heard in working at the Bell Museum with Dr. Annette Lee of Native Skywatchers. And when I heard this word, it was like earth-shattering, because this word is a concept that invites us to consider the strengths of Western science and indigenous perspectives. From both perspectives, we can generate more possibilities, right? So rather than say Western perspective is right, scientific, accurate, precise, we can also say that indigenous knowledge is just as important, and that with both of these perspectives, we can come to a richer perspective on whatever the topic is. In this case, we're talking about perhaps astronomy and cosmology, but that is like a super helpful term that has just been super affirming in trying to make sense of this. Because so much of the narrative has been it's one or the other, right? It seems like in this colonialist society, we're asked to surrender, especially as indigenous people, our knowledge as cultural, but we know that it's full of scientific knowledge as well. And so I wanted to put that word out there when we think about this conversation. When we have this conversation, it's been a really helpful point to start. But yeah, what I appreciate about indigenous perspectives too of this word is that every peoples have their own cosmology. Cosmology is essentially the study of the universe. And most indigenous cultures, if not all, their relationship to astronomy is intertwined with science, with art, with nature. It's all part of a cosmology belief. Whereas Western science, you're looking at those branches siloed from each other. And so I think there's so much strength when we can look at a certain topic from indigenous perspectives. And that's why I'm so excited for this, because again, we can just keep expanding the universe of thought here.
And I believe too that one of the things that when we were having this conversation, kind of this multiverse idea, we heard, and I heard this too a lot from the Zapatista movement. Has anybody heard about the Zapatista movement? No? Okay, can you give us a little context of the Zapatistas?
I know a little bit. I don't know enough. Basically, it's a group of indigenous peoples in mostly Chiapas, Mexico, who have self-organized for autonomy, self-governance, separate from the Mexican government. And so it's really interesting to have a government within a government, which is unique, except that we have also a similar structure here, right? We have tribal governments as well. So all the time, indigenous peoples have found ways of existing within a space that might have been constricted.
Yeah, and so the reason why we mention them is because they have this phrase, many worlds where all worlds can exist, right? And so that's why we wanted to also highlight, because that's the same idea of we're talking about the multiverse, and you hear the multitude of worlds, and also because when people say each human is its own universe, right? That's something that we firmly believe in, so we wanted to add that on into there. Yep, let's go.
Let's see what's next. Do we have? Oh, okay, cool.
So just check this out.
Oh no! So,
Go back.
So basically, this is a visualization that was so helpful when I had arrived on my work at the Bell, and I was like, "What is this?" And see a picture of ourselves. Yeah, how did that happen? Ooh, stick around. So we'll play it once without context, and then I'll like pace it out, and we'll pace it out together and see what we can see from this.
All right, ready?
Ready?
There we are.
Might be hard to see, but there's the.
Is there a way we can turn these lights off? Does anybody?
Whoa. Okay, I heard a whoa. Would the messenger of that whoa would like to explain why that reaction happened?
No say, it just came out.
I didn't mess with that. Are there many youngins in our audience, by the way, like 18 and younger? Okay, so I can cuss. Okay, great. We'll give it to a minimum, we'll give it chill. But, yeah, so this visualization is super helpful. We are essentially looking at ourselves, starting on Earth, our beloved Earth, right? Where that's us on the tiny blue dot. We then expand out to. Does anybody recognize what's in this?
Solar
The
system.
solar system, yes. And then we keep expanding further out to the Milky Way. Okay, you astro baddies. Okay, and then what's this?
Galaxy.
There's more space. Yeah. And this?
The known universe.
The observable universe. Yes. Did you say that?
I said known universe.
Known universe, yeah, known universe, the observable universe. This is essentially a radio image of how far our telescopes and, not telescopes, satellites have been able to capture, or not just Earth, but like the background that exists in the universe. So when I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, this is crazy, because you know why? Because in multiverse theory, then we have the theory that basically if this is us, there could be other us here, there could be other us here, there could be here, we could be happening actually at the same time. So that's a place of expansion that just blows my little earthly mind away. Because how is it possible, right, that that could happen? And moreover, what does it mean that we're in this room, but there's other universes in which we are, I don't know, rocks? Or maybe we're dinosaurs, right? What else?
People with sausage fingers.
Yes, sausage fingers, we're gonna talk about that. Yeah. So that is one way in which Western science can basically theorize and visualize more than anything multiverse theories. One concept that I wanted to put out there too, in popular theory, right, the concept of many worlds interpretation is a place where every possible quantum is realized. So how I read that is that every choice can be considered. And yeah, I'm just gonna expand my lightsaber here because I want to point stuff out. So we're here, and you made the choice to be here. What about the you that is here and make the choice to not be here? For thought. Okay, we can go to the next slide. That's crazy. Yeah, that's right. We have more perspectives here to talk through, though. How our indigenous ancestors have been able to also theorize in their own sense, make meaning of this. And so I wanted to start here. This image right here. This is a visual representation of the concept kapenomy. It's a Dakota word that invites us to consider as above, so below. So you kind of have the cylinder here, right? As above, so below. And this is a TP structure. So Kapenomy is essentially saying for every part there is its other part, otherwise known as duality too. Right?
Yes, duality.
Duality. Doesn't say feminine or masculine, but that's just its balanced approach. And on the left here we have another representation of duality.
So a lot of indigenous communities have this concept of duality. Some of us say Ometeo, which only represents two, and Teo doesn't mean God, or it just means energy or essence. And so we're talking about Ome, two, Teo, energies or essence. And so you'll hear a lot of, well, our community say Ometeo, just speaking into that duality form. And then here in this image we have Mitlantecutli. Say that 5 times, very fast. And people know him as, incorrectly, as the Lord of the Underworld. And really what Mitlantecutli represents is just the guiding force for an afterlife. And he's represented, or they're represented here through kind of the concept of death a little bit. And then in the next one you have Mictlansihuatl, which is the duality to Mictlantecuhtli. And Mictlansihuatl means, again, incorrect translation is the goddess mysteries of the underworld, but really it's just the duality guiding force of Mictlantecuhtli. And in the realm of Mictlan, which we'll get into a little bit further on.
So this itself is its own kind of world and universe. So if I'm understanding correctly, Mictlantecuhtli on this side.
No, Mictlantecuhtli, the one that looks like the skull with the pokey hats thing, that's Mictlantecuhtli, and then the other one is Mictlansihuatl. And then the stuff that you see on, so our people were very, very intelligent, are very, very intelligent. And so we observe patterns and nature, and so the things that you see around are for a count, an count. And so, yep, they all represent a day, and then the guiding force is the Mictlantecuhtli and Mictlansihuatl. So that is, we'll go a little bit deeper more in kind of what we wrap those up, but then I'll go ahead and let you do the next one.
Yeah, the next one, this image here is a visual artwork of, again, the Zapatistas theory. Queremos un mundo donde quepan muchos mundos. We want a world where many worlds fit, essentially. So as you can see, there's another kind of representation of as above, so below, right? And of course, the beautiful flowers is all of us. It's very pretty. Right here is a poem in Spanish from that I thought was really fitting to the research, and basically it's from a book of poems from a great poems of poets, from the quote-unquote Aztec Empire. And so I see that very loosely, because we know that women were also great poets, but what was kept was the masculine poems who were being recognized. Still, I find like there's a lot of great knowledge here. And the poem is called Estoy Triste. I'll skip it over. Estoy triste, me aflijo, yo, el señor Nexahualcoyo, con flores y cantos, recuerdo a los príncipes a los que se fueron. A Tezosomotzin, a Cuacuacín. En verdad viven allá en donde de algún modos existen. Ojalá pudiera yo regresar a los príncipes, llevarles nuestras flores. Si pudiera yo hacer míos los hermanos hermosos cantos del Tesoso Quincy. Jamás perecerá su nombre, oh mi Señor. Okay, that was a lot in Spanish. Basically, the translation loosely, what I want to highlight really, with flowers and songs, I remember the princes, those who have left, and many names too. Truly, where in the other world where there is another way of existing. I wish I could follow the princes and bring them their flowers. And so that to me is kind of like the nexus of this panel, because essentially it's a theory that comes from a place of grief, right? They are grieving the loss of two great princes, and at the same time acknowledge that they're not gone, that they have simply ceased to exist in that realm, but that they have gone or transcended upon a different realm. And so I thought that was like a really beautiful poem. And you know, the other part of this panel is grief. And so if you're here, I imagine you have a relationship with your grief, or are curious about establishing a relationship with your grief. And I find that beautiful, and I hope that our discussion here can support that expansion. Okay, so we've done a lot of theory.
All right, let's take a breath. Ready? That was cool.
Yeah. We started. Okay, yeah. We got some theories now. We did the hard work. Now we're ready to have some fun.
All right. Raise your hand if you have ever experienced other states of being, and that can be in whatever that means to you. Okay. Anybody want to tell us a little bit about it?
I was cursed.
Joe was cursed.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question.
We're on a panel, all right.
Are we safe from the curse too, or is that
We gotta.
It was
Are we in your curse now? In this universe?
Well, I am a man.
Okay. So let's keep it open. Being cursed, interesting. How does that affect your current state of being?
Well, when I was cursed, it ended in 2018. A bruja in Mexico actually cursed me, and I didn't know that. I kind of forgot all about it. And she altered my state of being, where it's kind of similar to being depressed, where there's like a gray filter over the world, but not quite that. It's like, forecast over the head. The day's shitty, and the day just started. And I'm a pretty go-lucky person, so like my whole world felt like a gray filter until I was released from the curse, and it was like all the colors of the world was like vibrant again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. You know what? I fuck with that. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, that's valid. Mm-hmm. And that is something that the science would have just probably denied or challenged. But I think in this perspective, it's kind of like we're experiencing quantum physics, or otherwise as like the transition from one state to another, right? So you were not experiencing your true self, you were experiencing a different version of you. Yeah. That makes sense.
Anybody else? Yep, right there.
Astral projection, like when you're asleep and then you see yourself sleeping, and all of a sudden there's something clicking in your brain that tells you this is a different realm.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you do after that is up to you, but there's that realization of yes, floating.
Raise up hand if you have experienced astral projecting. Okay, yeah. Okay, beautiful.
I think like deja vu is another, like experiencing deja vu.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like coming out of like a induced state, so like and like and under anesthesia. recreational.
Yes,
Yeah,
no,
no, that's
very
true.
cool. Like psychedelics, right, or drugs can help us. Of course, there's a lot of misunderstanding about herbal and plant medicine, but we can lean on them for support and ask them to guide us and serve as teachers in realizing other states and other parts, tapping into other parts of ourselves. Yeah.
For sure. I think one of the ways that, at least for me, we can experience other states of being, and it sounds like a lot of folks get to this point. So I belong to a group called Confluence, which means Warriors of the First Prickly Pear. We're a traditional Mexicana dance group. And one of the things that our teacher was always telling us, the importance of sinking in together when we dance, because we are opening energies and we're welcoming energies. And there is a point, at least for me, when a dance or a danza is getting to a point where I really want to tap out, and it kind of takes you into a trance. And one of our teachers was telling us too that there are actually danzas that we don't know about, and they were pretty, as much as they could, wiped out. For example, like the Migrante danza, that danza was quote unquote, has been quote unquote wiped out. But one of the reasons why they try to wipe out some of these danzas is because it will set the person into a different state of mind and connection. And so we understand that, dancing and ceremony is another way for us to connect to our ancestors, right? And so therefore saying our ancestors are not gone, they're here, and they're in their own universe, in the spirit world, And so prayer and meditation and ceremony, temazcal, sweat lodge, that's another way of experience maybe that multiverse. Sometimes, like Nia said, with the help of medicines, herbal medicines, and various ways. And so I also think of like if you're a musician and you're grooving and you get to this point of grooving and you close your eyes and you're not feeling really yourself. For example, I'm a drummer, and sometimes when I'm grooving on a beat, I close my eyes and it doesn't feel like it's necessarily me playing this drum because I'm so into the energy that I'm putting into, but some other places are coming into the space, and so that's another way. I saw a hand raised back there.
Yeah, no. I was thinking about how ceremonies are often the way that I feel like I'm in a different state. I still feel like myself, but there's something that's kind of being conjured in that space. That's what I think makes it like this kind of state where you can end up being in a trance, but you may also be somewhat aware of the fact that it's not just you and the people who are dancing here who are completing this ceremony, but it's also your ancestors, it's also the spirits that completed these ceremonies before you that are entering the space with you. So that's how I think of it.
Can I add to that a little bit? I was thinking the same thing because I don't feel like I've ever felt like me myself is in another state of being, but other beings being here with me, and it's specifically in giving birth.
Yes.
And that was that's the first thing that I thought of. And you explained it really well. I think it conjures all the power that you need to have to come out of it alive. Is all the power, you need that extra support,
Yeah. Shout out to Mamas and other people's birth. That's the first canon event, y'all.
Yeah, that's bringing life, literally bringing life. Yeah, so Payush for bringing that in. Anyone else? Yeah.
I would see it as a form of meditation, where it's that, because I think that there's so many different types of like ceremonies and different types of like ways that we can connect. And I think that it's just culture that like manifests that in the way, the creativity behind it. And like, I think the meditation contradicts like individuality and community. Because like when you're in the trance, it's like, you know, it's not just you, it's like the understanding you're a part of something bigger.
Thank you.
Yeah, and like, why does it matter, right? Why are we talking about this in this context? Why does it matter that we experience other versions of ourselves, or conversely, other versions of other people within us? It matters because it proves that we are our own universe as well, and that we are connected and interconnected with the rest of the universe. So if you have yet to experience any of the things that we just mentioned, we're not just trying to convince you to try hongos. So it's an invitation to realize your different self.
I think back to what you were saying is like when we look at the Western perspective, like their difficulty to conceptualize a lot of these things, and like our ancestors have been able to conceptualize this through various ways, and so I think that's also like what we're trying to like uphold here. True, like, you know, is that also is them, right? So I think that's our goal to do. So,
yeah, we're gonna keep it trucking moving along. So why are we talking about like other ways of existing? A big nexus again of this is grief, and this is the part where I want to add a little bit of context about this perspective. Experiencing the loss of a loved one, I think, is also a place of quantum jumping. It's also a place of portal openings. I know everybody's relationship with grief is different. I'm talking about my experience in which experiencing grief was such like a canon event. It was just like experiencing the past, the present, and the future all at once, right? In remembering our loved ones, we are accessing a point in the timeline when they were alive here on this realm, while staying in the present in which they're not here physically with us, while at the same time acknowledging that there is a future in which they might not be present. And so that is all so hard for our little earthly brains to comprehend. But it's also a beautiful feeling to just like be completely shattered in that way of experiencing the sense of possibilities. And this is where I want to talk about canon events and choices. Because I believe that every choice lends itself up to different choices, right? And so in that sense, it sets up a sequence of series of events that might not otherwise have been possible.
So just some notable pop culture ways that currently we see that, right? Spider-Man to the universe, or like into the multiverse. You see one of the biggest canon events is like either Miles Morales, his uncle passing away. In WandaVision losing her son. Her husband.
The infamous, that quote of what is grief but love persevering. It was magical.
And then Everything Everywhere All at Once. And grief comes up in different ways. It's not necessarily losing a person. It can be just the loss and absence of something, right? And I feel like that's what Everything Everywhere All at Once does really jump up, just like, the absence of something, right? And then we have Coco, we have the Book of Life, we have the Spider-Verse. There's many. Shout out some other multiverse pop culture movies.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah.
have yet to watch it. If anybody wants to be my Disney Plus hookup, please.
What else? What else? It can't just be Marvel. Marvel doesn't own all the multiverse back there.
The movie Sinners.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Especially the part where
Explain that to me real quick.
Okay, so this, no spoilers, I guess, for people who haven't seen it. But
True.
You should have.
Sinners. If you haven't watched Sinners, just like cover your ears.
That's your homework after this.
Yeah.
well,
Maybe without giving it away, how do you?
yeah, okay, so it ties to what you guys were explaining of how artwork or anything that creates vibrations, right? Anything that can manipulate frequencies and vibrations will summon the past, the present, and the future in the same room. Once you get into that trance that you guys were alluding, that sense of connection with other universes or other realms or parallel universes. But artwork is usually, almost always, the portal to that experience. It can be music or food or smells or an image or words, poetry, you know, anything.
Yeah, that's so true. Music. Thinking about that scene, right? That in the middle of the, I'm not gonna give it away, but that
Yeah.
beautiful scene where you experience all the future
Yep.
possibilities of the music that was playing.
Uh-huh.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
It's a
Right
good
here
movie.
in the
You should watch
person
it.
behind you.
In that same vein, like a lot of Studio Ghibli films.
Studio Ghibli, that's a yeah. Yeah.
What's the movie with the Avatar?
Oh, Avatar. Yeah, when they get into the Avatar stage.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice. Back here in the yellow.
She said what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Avatar, a great
Yes.
example of meditation too, right?
No way, back.
There's a couple Christmas movies, like A Christmas Carol,
Oh.
or the one with Jane Stewart that I can't remember right now, where they talk about multiverse and what would happen.
The Wonderful Life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like
It's
the
Wonderful Life.
whole
Wow.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to Christmas now. Yeah.
The Mexican film Amor a los Perros.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amores Perros?
Amores Perros, yeah.
Oh.
Because he connects like all the different characters through like a moment or like an object, and it's like that notion, and like también con los perros, you know, like how, I guess, and I think it kind of ties in, you know, because like connecting back to like like Cholo, you know, Isquinkli and like the dogs, but yeah, he like brings like all the dogs together, or like the different owners and how like they like switch them up, you know, and how everything's kind of connected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to watch that too.
Yeah.
Wait, we got a couple more. All right here.
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. Yes, classic. But wait, we have to go by the door.
I'm not sure about this one, but the butterfly effect.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right here.
There's a great one called Undone, and I haven't seen it in a while. It's on Amazon Prime, so I can't explain it very well, but
We need an Amazon hookup too.
We're all about community.
this woman is struggling with possibly mental illness or possibly an ability to understand reality differently from everybody else. And it's a really beautiful story.
Yeah.
Yes, we're in Bruno Cinephobes.
Yes.
Cinephiles here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. We have about 20 odd minutes left. And I wanted to talk about my own personal experience with the multiverse. And this is a part of the discussion where it feels a little new to me, because I want to get real with you about something that happens. It was my canon event. And so the reason why I started thinking about like grief as a portal to experiencing multiverses or other universes came at the heels of experiencing in 2021 my youngest brother passing away in a car accident. He's right here on my left, and that's my baby Nena, who also passed away this year. And it was was just the most, it still is, such a devastatingly beautiful experience to have known him, to experience him in this lifetime, and to love so deeply that my heart and my mind wonder, where else is he alive? Unfortunately, the way that he passed didn't allow for our final goodbyes. So part of me still searches for him, still yearns for him. And I think about the choices. I thought, when I was deep in my grief, I was deep in meditation, and I was thinking about all the possible choices, right, that could have led to a different outcome. What would have happened if he hadn't taken that card? What would have happened if I had checked up on him? What would have happened if X, Y, and Z? It might get a little too you might get, bit of, but in the end, I realized, okay, so if in this realm he passed away, what about in the other universe where he didn't, right? What if there's a universe in which those choices were realized differently, and we are still together? And so, talking about grief is a very hard thing to do. So thank you for being here and tending to that part of yourself. Also, talking about our current political context, in which every day since November 4th of 2024, I wake up and I'm like, this is the worst possible timeline. This can't be it. You know what I mean? What?
Okay, if you got that time machine, that would be a great
Take us all in there, please. And it's not to do the spiritual bypassing, I think, but really to tap into there are other universes in which this isn't all reality. But what is it gonna take for us to realize that universe, right? What are the choices that we can make today to have a mass exodus of a different timeline and experience a reality in which we can live just lives, we can live lives with dignity, respect, we're self-actualized. And so I think there's a grief with that of acknowledging what we're experiencing now is devastating for our communities. It's going to continue to be devastating. But being in relationship with our grief is what's going to carry us forward to the future. I see a hand back there.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
This is really interesting. My name is Yatasha, I spoke at a panel earlier. But I actually wrote a film called Naya in the Multiverse. Which
okay. Yes.
Yeah, so it's literally a sky show animation that's at the Afro Planetarium in Chicago. They play it every day.
Wait a minute, I saw your work. I was Googling, I was researching, and it came up. Oh my God, I love this
And actually, we're dealing with a lot of the concepts that you're talking about.
Yes.
Because the planetarium said, well, we want it to be Afrofuturist. I write about Afrofuturism. And it said, can you talk about these multiverse theories, the science multiverse theories. And I was like, okay, yeah, we can do that. I said, but for it to be Afrofuturist, I have to also talk about these African diaspora cosmologies that talk about other spaces of existence. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about the multiverse theory. And the way we bridged it was to have the girl, she's a teenager, reflect on things her grandparents told her that talk to these, cosmologies out of the Congo or the Dogon. And then she meets her future self, who's a theoretical physicist, who breaks down the science or the multiverse. And so for me, one, it's affirming to see that everyone here and you guys on the stage are looking to do the same thing, like thinking, okay, how do I break down the science piece, which is still theoretical, right? And in the science side, on the theory, they say these timelines, if they're talking about the many worlds one, that's the one that's like the Marvel universe, they would say that these timelines can never intersect. But the cosmologies, African, indigenous, and others say, no, they can. And there's a spiritualist, Michael Beckwith, who says that if you want to wake up in another timeline, just go to bed, wake up, and another timeline, right? So his thing is, no, you can hop the timeline if that's what you're trying to do. Now, the extent that you have memory of this, who knows, right? But I too had thought about the same thing, like, man, this seems like not the ideal timeline with this political stuff.
This can't be it.
I was like, no, but then I started thinking of the multiverse, like, wait, so the money worlds theory would say every possibility and every probability of anything that could happen presents itself as a different timeline.
Yes. Thank you so much for speaking beautifully and eloquently to what we're trying to convey here and bringing in African and Caribbean perspectives. I appreciate that so much. And that is like the impetus of what we're doing here. Like politically, what does it mean to give up our power? To just like surrender ourselves and be like, well, I guess we're sliding into fascism now. Right? What does that mean when we just like give up? And how does that affect other possibilities in the future where that's not the case? And so I wanted to merge that feeling of like how I experience other universes. I'm a Pisces, so I love to dream. That's my medium. Like, and so in my dreams is where I experience versions of my brother where he was alive, where literally it feels like a visit. It feels like I'm just chilling with him, as if nothing had happened, because in that realm, nothing has happened. And so based on that experience, I wrote this film called Amor Eterno. It is a short film that basically renders two siblings who have been separated by death but are reunited in a dream. And so we have this picture here of the two siblings, Feli and Monse. We shot it last year, and I actually just wanted to quickly shout out our star of that film. Isa Lopez is in the room with us tonight. Yes, good girl. And I think, oh, and Max is there. Yes. And so, yeah, you might not know these people. That's okay, you'll know them. But they are siblings in real life. And once you meet them, you'll see their resemblance is uncanny. Their mannerisms too. And so I just think beautifully about like what it means to have the canon event of siblinghood, of like experiencing like how other siblings interact, and how through this short film we not just that I materialize my relationship with my brother, but I also experience their relationship as well with each other. And so I wanted to show a trailer for Amor Eterno. It's a work in progress. The film itself is a work in progress, but I wanted to show you a little sneak peek, if you may. Yeah, so hopefully we can hear it. See what happens. Hang on. Technology is good for humans, but not all things. I'm wondering if anybody here in the audience has also like reckoned with experiencing the multiverse through grief. Yeah. Do you want to speak on that?
Yeah, I'm an artist, and a lot of my practice right now is just kind of like thinking of like, because a lot of mine also has to do with like disability, that I've been like got really sick, and like my life has been like forever changed because of it. And like I keep like reimagining myself, and like ones like where I'm a bit more able-bodied, where I have a different future. And I also like think about the choices that I've made that led me to these moments, and like, these are things that I didn't really have control over. So like, what if it didn't happen? Things like that. So it's just kind of needing like a lot of repetitious acts in my artwork to try to create different things.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that about the grief of oneself, like grieving that part too, which is, I think that's where it starts, is grieving the versions of ourselves that are no longer there.
How was the audio?
I would love to hear one more perspective. Yes, Mimi, is that you?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
me.
girl.
I'm already like crying. I don't know why, but I came here when I was 5, and it's for the first 5 years of my life, I grew up with my grandma, and so I felt like I lost her. So I try to like imagine what would it be like if I stayed, you know? What would it be like growing up with my? What would she teach me? You know, what would she tell me? And sometimes I feel like I hear her, you know? And I really love what you're saying. I mean, what you said, one choice leads to many choices. I think about that a lot too, because my parents made that choice for me, right? Like, to bring me here. And so like, what other possibilities would the other choice? Because I know things were really hard, you know? And so like, it also helps me like, not be okay with it, but just find some, you know, like comfort, and also understanding that maybe I don't know, I would have lost her in a different way. Because things were really hard for my grandma and my family down there. So anyways, yeah, thank you for listening.
Oh my God, thank you, Laura, for sharing that vulnerability. Shout out to our grandmothers, the ones who raised us.
All of your very sensitive.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay.
Do you think we're siblings in our universe?
Okay, Mia, okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a beautiful love of labor. We shot it last year, and because of indie filmmaking and because me being a Pisces, it's work in progress. But we're so excited to announce a place where you can catch the rest of it. And we have a few minutes left. I just want to invite you at this point to sit with what may be coming up. We went through so many concepts here, and I encourage you to keep looking for those opportunities where grief lends itself to you, to listen to it. Grief has been one of the greatest teachers in my life, and film has been a medium to transmute that energy. And so I was so blessed to have a cast and crew last year that was majority queer, majority femme. And so to do this was not, to put the crew and the cast together was an intentional choice not from like I wanted to do something that Hollywood has done, but more of like I want to represent my people on the set. I want to like feel what I feel when I'm with community on set. And so the love of labor that came about, you see like our cinematographer Serena Hodges, our gaffer Nadia, and so these are local artists. We have a thriving filmmaking scene here in Minnesota and Minneapolis that I would encourage you to support and keep looking out for those opportunities. And so we're gonna like wrap it up. The last thing I wanted to mention before we take a few Q&A, it is an opportunity to watch the work in progress of Amor Eterno on November 22nd at Cine Film U. It is a film festival. It's going to be hosted at Indigenous Roots, so we might see Ruti. And this film festival is really cool. It's a collaboration between Mama Papaya and an incubator for BIPOC filmmakers, and TDM5, a duo, Nigerian twin duo of artists. And the theme this year is kin. So if you're exploring those themes in your life, come check us out. And so yeah, that's it. You want to follow us on Instagram, amoreterno.mov. We'll post updates there too. We hope to have our final cut by the end of this year, so that next year in 2026 we can just start doing community, building community around film. So yeah, keep on the lookout. And with what 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left, I would love to open the floor if there's any other like words or feelings that are coming up to you that you want to leave us with.
I did just want to add real quick to the kind of the discussion of the kind of altered states of mind and stuff like that, which was just, I did briefly become a witch in order to break a curse off of my best friend, and it worked. Okay. But then also I did have a kind of half question, which was just, have you by any chance happened to read The Girl I Was, Am, and Never Will Be by Shannon Gibney?
She was just here.
Yeah, I was like, it's a shame she's not on this panel because she wrote a book that is literally kind of akin to what you guys are talking about. Because she's adopted, and so it's kind of like a memoir that's kind of partially fictionalized because it's about her kind of exploring an alternate universe where she wasn't adopted and kind of interacting with that version of her. So it kind of seemed really relevant.
I wish we had kept a list of like all these recommendations. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate
You can do one more because the next session is also ending. Yes.
I just want to mention friends who talk to their loved ones, that they continue a relationship by talking to their loved ones out loud. When my mom passed, I felt a sort of an open portal to where she was that I couldn't describe. But some of my friends go a step further and literally continue to have conversations with loved ones who passed on, and that strikes me as a kind of world building as well.
Yes. Thank you for talking to that. I mean, some of us might have an innate power there or gift, but also alternatively help to ground that in practice. So, thank